sexy.
Welcome,
everyone. You copy it? You're doing after like you're gonna repeat what I say?
Oh no.
God damn! All right, welcome everybody.
Our intro is still a work in progress, people.
Episode 3 of A Coming of Age, the podcast. Wait, now go.
Coming of age.
I always feel you're gonna cut me off. Episode 3, man, and
what's up, people? How's it going? Frank is here.
Yeah, everything's good. I think this week is gonna be a little bit this one's gonna be a little racy. I think. I don't know, like racy, literally. I mean racy.
I feel like there's gonna be some interracial couples just starting sweating right now while driving.
Wild.
Man, it's just gonna be things about just taking it off the edge of the road or something.
Yeah, I mean, this week we're gonna discuss dating / marrying outside of your culture.
Yes,
which we both have done.
Whoa! I'm not married. Calm down.
But I said dating / You proposed in the last episode. So
no,
nothing wrong. What's wrong? What's wrong?
Wow.
What's wrong with what I said? And we not even just from our own experiences, but experiences of others, friends. Growing up in Toronto, you know and meet so many different kinds of people, and we've both probably many of you listening have been to weddings that are not of the culture you grew up in.
Absolutely.
Which I think makes things interesting. And when you hear certain things, and we try not to use names here. When we tell our stories, yeah, let me not get into that detail yet. But
that's my boy.
But yeah, Frankie, go ahead. You kind of intro this.
I can kick it off.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So this episode is simply about, again, dating outside of your culture, and some of you might just think interracial relationships, which is actually exactly what it is. So black and white, or Indian and white, Asian and Indian, West Indian, European. I mean, it can go on and on, but there's always some things. No matter how much you say, you're mating well, you're vibing well, there's always some things that just kind of makes you step back and be like, what just happened, or how do you handle the situation, or just you can't even relate to what the person is saying because there's such a big cultural gap. And we're just going to be rolling through. There's nothing specific about it. I'll kick it off by simply saying, even still today in North America.
Yeah.
So I date, my girlfriend is Bulgarian. She likes to say that she's European, but she is white.
Where are you from?
Straight. I'm St. Vincent. I'm from Vincy. Yes. For all those people. St. Vincent the Grenadines. If you don't know where that is, search it. It's a very small island near St. Lucia, Barbados, Grenada, north of Guyana. And it's very beautiful there.
Why you gotta throw Guyana in there?
I wanted to give her northwest and a south bearing, so they know the pocket. Because Jamaicans just think they're the only island out there, and then Trinidadians. Anyways, but we still get looks. Like it's surprising. You think we're past that, but we still get looks like stare downs.
That's human,
of
man.
all different types.
I feel like that's human nature, dude.
Is it?
Yeah, I get look. My kids look probably 90% more Indian than they do East African, which is my wife. And
I'd agree. Yes.
I see people look at me, look at her, look at the kids. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can see that, especially in women. In women, you see it a lot. Like especially older women, maybe older white women, older. Not even just white women. I like.
For me, it's white women, and it's
they've assessed
black
the
women.
situation.
It's pretty much sorry. Let me put it this way.
Yeah,
I get negative looks from a certain gender. I'm not gonna say black women.
So you've made black women to their own gender?
What? Oh, no, I'm saying
black.
I'm saying black women. They usually look at my dating situation. It's like a up and down, kind of like a.
Yeah, you better hope this podcast never blows up, because Black Twitter have a field day.
Listen,
field day on it.
I'm saying exactly what's on my mind, exactly what I experience. Sure. Black guys, they usually check out, my girl, and They don't look scolding or anything. They're chill. They're cool with it. Older women, like you said, they look at us kind of like, huh, you know what I mean? Like, really? But yeah, you still get looks for anything.
Like to me, the divide is way more cultural than it is racial. So I feel like you can have two people who are. I mean, we probably don't want. I don't know if you want to get into religion much, but let's say if you have two people who are I don't know, Muslim, okay,
Yeah.
and they're Muslim, they're brown Muslims. I think you can have a way huge divide more culturally than you can even just religiously and stuff like that. I think the religious thing kind of stops people from going certain lengths.
Oh yeah.
You know, like marriage might not happen, like
Yeah.
long relationships might not happen because of XYZ. But I think once you cross that line and you're there, I think that there's a lot more deeper cultural divide between people, such as like things like if you're really into, I don't know, like could you picture someone who's goth marrying someone who is, I don't know what,
Knockoff.
like a hip hop, yeah, like a hip hop head kind of person, someone who grew up in
I've
a
seen
hip
it.
hoppy culture.
I've seen it, though.
You've seen it, but like it's an odd pairing, right?
Yes, it is.
And like as much as you might want to look at the racial part of it, that's more of an odd pairing, I think. You know, the cultural difference than anything. You know, because like, I mean, for me, I'm Muslim, my wife's Muslim, but she's East African, I'm West Indian. So where we had a commonality from a religious standpoint, our the background of our cultures probably, if anything, would and probably did create tension where it normally would not have been.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? From the family standpoint. But we connected because we shared the same experiences. We grew up in similar areas. We grew up in a similar culture.
You creeped her when some man was trying to pick her up on the back of the bus.
Yeah, that was is that in episode 1? Yeah. I think that's in episode 1. And
Yo, who's this?
yeah. Like I think that again, for me, do you think that, or do you think it's more of a?
I think it's a combination of everything. So when I say culture, I mean race, I mean beliefs, I mean the way you talk to each other, like what you think, like what one person thinks they can say versus what another person thinks you can't say.
Right.
How you do problem resolutions. That's the negative part of it, but also the positive, like what certain people consider as fun, cool, and entertaining, or family ties, right? Like, for example, Italians, oh my gosh, everything's with the family. Everything's with the family.
Yeah.
Whereas some other cultures might be more secluded or, don't have big families, whatever
and
it is.
then you get in, like, that kind of happened with me because I have a huge family. But my wife also has a huge family, but not close, not maybe I would say hourly close, day to day, week to week with maybe that side of her family.
Yeah.
So she wasn't used to that. So like literally,
it's a lot to take in.
Yeah, going and like it took a lot of me to come around to understand that would be like, I was as nice as I was being like, okay, don't worry about it. Like, oh, okay, just we don't have to go today. We don't. Oh, we'll go there. We'll go and leave quick. That's a common thing you like to say.
Some
right?
cultures just like, no, we have to go to this dinner.
Yeah.
We have to go.
Or
to this
you're
birthday.
assuming we're going.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What time are we gonna leave?
Actually, I have a boy. One of my best friends, like his family, Anthony. Shout out Anthony. What's up? They're Italian, and nothing negative about them whatsoever.
Right.
Lovely family. My boy's like, he's ride or die. He's good, but I mean, every weekend, it is something
going on.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like something, and it's like, I have to go. It's like, really, you have? Yeah, I have to go. Whereas here, like sometimes my mom's like, oh, you don't have to come to this, or my dad's like, I don't worry about it. It's nothing, and I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah,
just because my family's just different, right?
Yeah.
But like I got lucky, like with my girlfriend, she has a very lovely family. Her cousins, uncles, aunts, and everybody, and I have a big family as well. And luckily, we're both we're chill. Like she's probably a little bit more, committed to like we have to go to here and here, but it's not everything.
Right.
So I got lucky there, but there's definitely some things where I'm just like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Or what's happening? It's just shock factor. Right?
I think what it does too is if you're on one end of the spectrum and your significant other is on the other, you have to at some point respect that. Maybe you don't even have to understand it, but you got to respect it. Like there was a point where I had to respect it, but I didn't understand it yet. Like I had to respect that Saida needed her time. I had to respect that she didn't always feel like going to these huge events and these huge weddings and these, like every other Sunday or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, and birthday parties and all this kind of stuff. Where she was just like, I worked all week. We just have one day at home. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And like, again, I think a big step for me personally, this being a coming of age podcast. You're supposed to
coming of age.
Nice. I only said that too, so you could do your thing. I think a big part of me growing was not only respecting what she is, but then coming to understand that, hey, like, this is not for everyone. I don't think it's for everyone, And I think that's where the cultural divide or cultural.
Was there ever anything that she tried to, or successfully, imposed on you, like from her culture, country, family?
No, because I'm super down for all that stuff. Like, unless you're gonna say like, I can't, I don't know, wear something maybe. I'd be like, oh, okay.
So you don't like the things that restricts you, but you're open to things that just kind of introduces you to
I don't know. I mean, you have to
experiences.
be maybe you have to tell me like something. Give me an example of something that would restrict. But I don't know if there was any sort of
let's say
because again, you gotta remember we're of the same religion.
Yeah.
So there still is a underlying understanding of boundaries and certain things to do and not to do. Like I wouldn't wear like a tank top. Bare chest. Shout out to the bare chest mafia.
Bare chest mafia. That's a different story for a different podcast.
Different mans out there. Different kind of mans out there. And like I wouldn't do that and go to a family function, right? Like on her side. If my side had a barbecue and I was feeling nice and I was in shape, I would.
How about your arguments when you guys talk? Was there ever a barrier or a surprise there? Does she talk to her family differently from yours?
No, and I would say because, again, we grew up, she went away to school. She grew up in I would probably say a lower income community in a similar way that I did. And she did not have that. She didn't have a lot of those, I think, ideals that maybe some of her peers had. And probably that's probably just a parenting thing. That's probably just more of a parenting thing. But I don't think she was latched on to any sort of like ideals or any sort of restrictions herself.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because again, she went away to school and she partied somewhat at school and stuff like that. She didn't do anything hard or anything harsh or anything like that. But
I know one thing that's tough for some couples is, which this has to do a little bit of status, but you'll understand how it can be cultural, is when two people come together where one maybe had a upbringing in, let's say, a second world country, versus someone who had an upbringing in like a first world country or city. Because the second world country person, even first world, they might be accustomed to letting certain things fly. You know what I mean? Actually, for example, I can't remember who I was talking to, but I remember I was at someone's house and they cooked some food and they had it out and we were going to bed or we're leaving, whatever, and they're like, oh, we gotta put it all in the fridge. I'm like, no, what do you mean? Just leave it out. Like, what? What do you mean leave food out? I'm like, well, you just cook a little stew, you leave it out, like let it cool down, and you put it away in the morning or tomorrow, whatever it is. Oh, it'll go bad. It'll go bad. What do you mean? Yeah, man, my mom left food out overnight all the time.
I'm not big on not letting that not happen. But my wife...
Whoa, jeez.
Yeah.
Like, you just gave me three knots. Hang on. You're not big on not
like, meaning I have done that.
Not happen.
Like, meaning, like, if I made, like, stew chicken or curry or something, or...
you leave it out.
Something West Indian-ish, I would say. I don't have any problem with it being out.
Yeah, but some people...
Yes, my wife...
Like, no,
you're onto something.
Put that away.
Saida does that. And I'll get ripped for it.
Yeah, there's a thing, though, right?
Sure.
That's... As small, that's not a big issue.
We left it out. We don't even know if we could eat it anymore. So is it still good? And you're like,
what do you think the deterioration rate of atoms are? Like, yo, this food's all right. Don't worry about it, right?
But like, it's funny because if you think about like if you have a get together and the food is out, and say you have a 6-hour get together, I mean, hello.
I
Was
mean,
yeah, like
yeah, but
you know,
like I
but
said,
anyway.
it's the, or even something as simple as since we're talking food, my mom would put in the wintertime, she would put food in the garage, right? Because it's cold. It's like -5 in garage, right?
Okay.
And they'll be like,
In a fridge in the garage?
no, in the garage.
No, this is different. Yo, you're on a whole different. I don't even understand what you're saying. Dude.
Okay, so your fridge is cold. It's a refrigerating machine, right? There's a condenser that takes heat
I get
out
it.
of the
I
fridge,
get what you're
right?
saying. That in
So
terms
if you go
of
in the garage,
yeah,
and you steal the food, obviously you're not going to leave an open pot. But if you put a closed pot in the garage in wintertime, yo, that shit's staying nice and frosty, dog. What's the difference?
I'm with you.
That's free energy.
I'm with you.
But see your reaction there. You were just like, what?
Yeah, because you know I was thinking that like how you just because can't anything just go inside? But then you're obviously putting a sealed container.
You have a garage door, right?
But this is culture. Like Saint Vincent, this is a common thing.
Oh, St. Vincent, you leave food everywhere.
Okay.
But again, that's common for a second world country. Right?
And is that common in Bulgaria? Is that something where it
Oh,
says,
yeah. Oh,
does
yeah.
your girlfriend think that's weird?
So that's what I was leading to. Good job.
Okay.
See, guys, this is episode 3. We're getting a vibe. Like,
Ah.
our minds are going in the same direction.
I mean, it is a coming of age.
We're getting there. Oh no, coming of age. I'm missing up my ad libs.
The vibes. Still to come.
So that's actually a pro, like a cool thing. So again, just to clarify, people, this podcast isn't to focus on just the negatives of two different cultures dating. This is simply to go over the cool migration and integration. I
Yeah,
should
sure.
say, right? And yes, Cece, Cecilia is her name, spelled with the S. Her family's Bulgaria,
Jesus Christ.
from Bulgaria. If you don't know Bulgaria is, look at the map. It shares the same border as Romania across from Turkey in that Serbia kind of
Okay,
area.
man, we get it. Yeah.
Eastern European. And yeah, so
Man once man's pulling over on the road, like, yo, let me make sure we're just Bulgaria. Okay, my father yelling Bulgaria.
they gotta
yo.
relate, yo. They gotta be able to relate. So this is a 2-part story. It'll be quick. But yeah, her mom leaves food out, leaves food out overnight. The only difference, though, I'll say this: they leave it out like open, like no pot cover, nothing,
Like airing.
like airing out. But that's where my Germophobia comes in. I'm like, yo, sour flies, but it's not a big deal. But yeah, they leave it out. They're like, yeah, it's food. What do you mean? You're gonna eat it tomorrow, anyways, right?
Yo, what do you
I went to
mean,
Bulgaria.
Like cooked food? Like,
Sorry?
Like cooked food. Chicken legs is out.
Her mom is a chef, so she will go cook lamb, rabbit, chicken, beef, stew,
and
soup.
it just sits open
Sits open.
on the kitchen. You go to
Kitchen
sleep
counter.
and you wake up, you come down, it's there.
Yes.
Yeah, that is kind of like I don't even know if that's a
That
yeah,
part.
yeah, I
so
guess
that's the thing. So it was.
Yeah, sure.
It was a
I'm not
shared.
used
It
to
was a
yeah.
common thing. Like we leave food out, but my mom always covered it. So that was the difference. Where I was just
Yeah.
like, "Oh, that's interesting," but I got used to it, right? And I'm cool with it. It's minuscule compared to anything else, right?
I do find that norm, maybe like I don't know how you would define the norm of what was or what a normal relationship looks like
Mhm.
physically, but I do find that our generation is more and more and more changing that narrative, and there are way more. I mean, I don't have data, I don't have stats, but just from eye test and from seeing and listening, there's way more interracial cultural mixing of within our generation, and I think it's going to carry over to our kids more, that where it's like it's just, do you vibe with that? Are you attracted to that person? Are you is there a vibe with that person? Is there something that you connect to that is outside of, again, traditional? I'm using the word traditional in a quote, and maybe in more of a quote,
I know what you mean.
but like
Things have changed.
yeah.
Like North America just becomes more and more like more immigrants are coming here, right? Which is great. More mixing of cultures naturally, and just like your environment influences you so much. If you're around just more ingredients, it's called more ingredients in the pot, you're gonna get more accustomed to them. Right?
You know what? I'm gonna play a good cop, bad cop here. I'm gonna play bad cop.
All right, come hit me.
Now, if I am,
I ain't got nothing on me, yo.
if I am a traditional okay, I'm gonna say that of our parent generation, so people in their 50s, 60s, okay?
Yeah.
If I'm them and I see this continually happening happening within my lineage or my like the lineage is the right word.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
You might feel like you're losing something. You're feeling like you're losing tradition. You're losing certain things culturally that will never get replaced. Like language is a big thing, right? Like a lot of us who like our parents. Well, my parents all spoke English, but they spoke a broken down
Mm-hmm.
English West Indian version. But when my son hears me say things or hears like his uncles and whoever say things, when we say things in jest. We a lot of times say things like "yo," kind of thing that yo. Da, da.
Yeah, yeah.
You say it kind of like in that terms, but you're not speaking like that all the time.
Yes.
And like that gets lost. So that language itself is lost, and then the tradition of things I think gets lost. And I wonder if it's worth it.
What do you mean? Is it worth it?
Like, is it worth losing some of those traditions and not staying traditional and not marrying? Is there more of a plus to marrying within your
Well, you have to remember this.
See, I was going to say race, but I don't know if I want to say race.
Listen,
more,
race, interracial culture,
Yeah.
it's a bag of mix, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I will say is, it's not a bad thing. It can't be a bad thing. How is it a bad thing to have two people come together who are either in love, share the same hobbies, passion? If two people are happy, they're happy. That can't be bad.
I do have
Right.
Jamaican friends whose moms have told them, yo, don't bring no white gal in this house.
And hey, they can say
Right.
that. That's fine. But
Yeah.
to me, in my mind, two things. A, you're stuck in the past.
Right.
And B, why would you want to limit your kid
Yeah.
from possibly having pure happiness with whomever they want?
It's funny because guys...
But to come back to
Yeah,
answer your
sure.
question. Oh, no. What are you going to say?
I was going to say that.
Yeah, what are you going to say?
That Guyanese people, back in the day, if mans came to like the States or went to England or came to Canada and they had like a white woman, yo, it was like trophy on the wall. Like, yo, you want, like, how'd you get this guy?
Well, yo,
Like,
here's
you
the
hear
thing.
my uncles talk like, yo, am I gonna white gal? Yo,
Back in
wouldn't
my
care,
home,
yeah.
there's more and more white people showing up, and like they're like, it's not bashing whatsoever. I'm thankful that my parents.
But white American, white English, white Canadian.
White's white anything.
But like there's white, there's Asian descentish.
I
There's
think
Chinese.
so. I know
Guyanese,
for a
you
fact that it
Chinese,
came down
Jamaican
to
and
this
stuff
for my
like
parents. My parents didn't care who I dated, right?
that. Yeah.
I have aunts and uncles who, maybe if anything, my dad actually like way back when would have seen me with I'm black for those who don't know, and may have seen me with a black girl, but he never enforced it. He never even said anything about it. It's just an inclination I have. But they never actually said or cared about who I brought home, especially where I grew up. Like I dated mostly, to be honest, white women. Right, this is a fact. It's not that I went and sought them out. It's just where
If
I
you
grew
know
up.
anything about, I found this out because I started working out there. But if you are in the GTA or anywhere that is not East GTA, would you say?
Yes.
On the 401, it is an eye-opening experience. Me and Frank worked together at a Best Buy for many years, and I remember being almost blown away by like every couple being black, white, black guy, white girl, black guy, white girl,
Yeah.
brown guy, white girl, and it was it was just a
Actually, I can say
Sure.
this for a fact. Everybody has multiple groups of WhatsApp friends.
yeah.
And, you have your Mandem group, you have your second Mandem group,
Sure.
then you have your third group. Like,
Yeah.
out of all my groups, almost all of the black guys are dating a different culture.
Yeah, sure.
White girls. Look, if I say race or culture, like,
Yeah,
I'm going to
sure,
mixing
sure.
it up. Like, you can take that, like,
It's hard not
okay.
to. No,
It's hard not
yeah,
to.
Yeah, it's hard not to.
But boy dating Asian girl, boy dating white girl, boy dating, if I say Irish, I'm Bulgarian.
I'm Bulgarian.
Straight Canadian
She got
girl.
you ready, man. You're Bulgarian.
Like it's a commonality now. It's common to do it, which is beautiful. I think it's absolutely great. Like we're sharing cultures and we're learning from each other. And to answer your question from
As long as you
before, I don't
carry-
think you're
yeah.
losing.
Okay.
Right? I was going to say this. I don't think
As
the
long as you-
parents are upset as long as you carry a piece of your culture.
With
Maybe not
it.
all of it.
No, sure.
For example, I can't speak island. I can't do it. When I try it, I just make a fool of myself, right? I can say a small word and here and there, but I can't.
I think you speak it fine.
No, right? But my parents are happy that I go back home every 2 years and I know my island. I know my people. I know my foods. And I know my discipline. I know what we grow up believing in. That's what they're happy about.
Right.
And I think as a parent,
like you're raised right and you're carrying it on.
Yeah, as a parent, if you see that your kid at least knows about your culture and goes home once in a while and, you know, expresses interest in it, I think you'd be happy with that. Or you should be happy.
I have not been to Guyana because I fear of getting choke and robbed, as they like to say, like choke and rob.
Is that a new food?
So, bygone choka and rob. Yeah, like those. I don't want to divulge off our topic.
Really? That's why you don't want to go back?
Yeah, because the fear is there, and the fear has been laid out by my grandparents of all people. Like, because back home, it just isn't what. Like, I think my grandpa had an eye-opening moment when my grandpa back home had a business, and it was eye-opening to him that I think his brother, my grandpa Harold, God rest his soul, went back to Guyana. It was like the mid-90s, and he took like video camera footage of their old home, their old business they had. Like they had a shop, like a convenience store kind of shop thing below their home and stuff like that, and it was just torn apart. Like thieves took it all, you know. And there's like, there's nothing to go back. It was like why go back?
You have family there?
I have aunts, and I have cousins who have kids.
Okay. Yeah.
I have first cousin there, who I've never met because I don't think they're allowed. I don't know if they're allowed to fly or maybe they don't fly or what.
Probably.
But
Okay.
yeah.
I think it's good going back. Like, I didn't like going back home as a kid because I was a kid. I didn't understand it. But now going home, I love it because I'm older and I gotta walk around as I please. See, my dad has 19 brothers and sisters, or
Wow.
18, I should say.
Wow.
So
From the
whole
same
island,
parents?
No, it's multiple.
Okay.
But actually, most of them are actually from Mada, his mom, who just passed away actually this week.
Okay.
God rest her soul. Sorry, last week. Sorry. But yeah, going home, it's like a family reunion. The whole island is comprised of like 4 families. There's only like, I don't know, 3,000 or 4,000 people there or so, and it's homey, right? There's crime, of course, everywhere, but I enjoy going home. It's nice, and I'm actually bringing my girlfriend there next year.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
yes. I've received that invitation.
Yeah, because I went to Bulgaria, which was quite the interesting time. Beautiful country.
But it's interesting that generation probably couldn't do what we're doing.
No, you mean like the past generation?
Yeah.
No, so like I said, I have
to.
aunts and uncles who, when they saw my girlfriend, they were like, you know, they weren't rude to her or anything. They were just kind of weary, right? Because my other cousin, he brought home white girls, and they were not as good, I guess. Cece, you're the best. And
yo, I don't know what this is like is this like 3 episodes in? It's been a love letter to
Yo, I love my girl. I don't know why so many are like scared about talking. Like, hey, girl, my girl's sick. She's dope.
Go on.
Anyways, but Cece, her culture is taught with, you know, respect, discipline, and she treated my whole family like nicely.
Oh, Ceci is amazing. I keep calling her Ceci.
Yeah, make her sound like a disease.
No, but it's SESS, right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying it correctly. You're saying it wrong. You're calling it Cece.
We say Cece.
Okay, well, you get precedence over me. But I remember going to your Summer of Frank.
That one time you went?
The birthday. And I
think that's going to be the running thing. Anytime Summer
of
Frank comes up, guy. Yo, that one time you went?
Yo, man, I went twice. And I'm going to go.
You did go twice.
I did go twice. And what number is it at next year? 8?
7.
That's not bad. Yo, if I was a baseball player, that's batting 250.
Sure.
It's not bad. It's middle of the line.
Sure.
Yeah, 280.
Big contract sign.
No, it's not. Definitely not. But yo, yeah, I would say that. I would like Ceci was involved in it. She was getting food, putting the food out. She was involved in making people feel welcome. She was welcoming us all there to your mom's house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about the
Wow.
sexual differences between cultures now?
Be more specific. What do you mean sexual difference?
With regards to some cultures see it as like a divine intervention, not intervention, but acts. Some of them really put a lot of, like, do it seldom. Some of them only do
What
it for
are
the
you
act
saying?
of having kids.
Oh, I
Some of them are more.
I was like doing it seldom.
No, yeah, less. Like, you know what?
Yeah,
like,
sure.
I
Like
feel
there's a purpose. Like there's a means to
Yeah,
an
some
ends. Yeah,
some
sure.
cultures like, no, we only do it if trying to have kids, for example, and some are like, yeah, do it whenever you want. Let's do it right now. Some are more provocative, less. What do you think about that and
Like
how
meaning if you marry someone who are you trying to say like if you're with someone who is of the culture of there's a means to an ends, or you mean like what do you mean by that?
I
What's
guess
the
so.
question? What question are you actually asking me, Frank?
how do you think couples deal with that?
I think that would probably be one of the hardest things to deal with. Because if there's a level that you have to be connected, I think, with your partner, it's on an intimate level. And I think that's what differentiates your relationship with your significant other and your relationship with someone of the opposite sex who's just a friend or
Yeah.
work person or something like that, old friend. Because that's the big differentiator, right? Like if you're really into someone, you kind of want, not just you want to have sex with them, but you want to be with that person. You want to be intimate with that person. You want to be loving with that person, right? Typically, I mean, I assume that that's the general feeling. I would imagine if the person on the other end either is or becomes different in feeling, I guess, or different in approach, that is super tough.
Yes.
That is super
Especially if
tough.
they're maybe more held back before, or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe they're more forward, and they're the ones who's back.
They're
back
moving
to,
faster.
Yeah, exactly.
They're moving faster
yeah.
than you now, and you're like kind of like, yo, whoa.
I think people don't think about that as much because when you see two different cultures, you automatically think food, discipline, speech, what have you.
Yeah.
But you don't think, like, the first thing that comes to my mind isn't, I wonder how their sex is. Like, not like literally think about them having sex. Like, literally, I wonder if they're on the same level, if they have different expectations.
Yeah, sure.
Like, correct me if I'm wrong. Is it Africans who like usually try to wait till marriage, or because they're usually more Catholic or something? Or
I think religion has a lot to play with that.
Yes,
I think religion has a lot more to play with that than even I would probably say. And religion is part of culture, obviously. But I would say the religious end of things has maybe a lot more to play with that than.
Did you wait a long time to introduce your wife to your parents or grandparents?
Did I wait a long time?
I can't define a long time. Use your discretion.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably say no. I would probably say Saida is the first person that my parents met, like formally as like, hey, this is my.
Not her,
girlfriend.
like not a girl who was like jumping out your window.
Nah, they never. I
the
would
back
never.
door.
You know what? To be honest with you, all those. That's terrible.
Oh,
any
all them, yeah, back there.
yeah, but like when you're 16, 17, I had a conscious thought that like, like to think 10 years from now, I may be with, person X or person Y or whatever it is. Like, that's far-fetched. Like I say, it's so far-fetched of an idea to me. Even at a young age, I was very aware of that. Like, it's such a far-fetched idea. You know what I mean? That like, that's like when you hear about high school sweethearts, it's very like, oh, because it's not, it's typically, it doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
Because you grow as people, right? And you could be of the same culture, the same race and
I'm
everything.
not gonna lie. I have a hard time when I know one friend in particular who, he married his high school sweetheart. He dated high school, college. Like, that's a long time. In my head, it's not the time frame that's the issue, because people are married for like 30, 40 years.
Okay.
The thing I have a hard time thinking of, I'm like, you grow so much from high school to college to your first job to your first promotion to your first travel to your first, you know what I mean?
Having finances, like having the ability to be
like in my mind, I'm like, I don't know if I would have ever been able to like marry my high school friend. Like that's I don't know. Like
I
just
mean,
for
unless you're
me.
moving at the same speed, though, right? And if kind of like you are, maybe that is the magic to
Hmm.
couples who do that. There is a magic there, maybe that.
I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
knocking it.
No, sure,
not
but
whatsoever. I'm
no,
just
but
saying
I
for
think
me,
that's super
that's
rare,
tough.
though. I would say that's super rare
Yeah,
to
man.
be.
'Cause you meet so
yeah,
many new people.
so many.
Like think
people.
about it, usually in high school, you know the people within a 5 kilometer radius.
Sure.
The second you go to university, if you go away from university,
Oh, different world.
completely different city. The
Yeah.
first time, like it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
That's interesting. Anyways, yeah, I think the sex, not barrier, the sex factor in culturally different relationships.
Or
Whatever.
related to that too. Like I could see that our generation is way more open to having kids
Mhm.
later in life, where our parents, their parents, 17, some cultures.
Mhm.
In Guyana, it's very common, 16, 17, 18.
You have to be married,
Huh?
or no?
Married, yes.
Because that's another thing.
Yeah,
That's a big one.
yeah.
When different cultures, it's like if you have a kid or get pregnant before marriage, that's like
Oh, you gotta be,
it's like you better schedule your marriage.
you're
for the
getting
next 3
married
months.
Saturday. Yeah.
Like I have
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
some friends
Sure.
who their marriage was I forget the specific dates, but it was like a year away. Let's just say,
Yeah.
and then she got pregnant, and they bumped that shit up to like
Yeah.
3 months later. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? I'm
Yeah,
like,
I've had that in
it-
my family too, where like
Yeah.
all of us like not bumped up, but like hey April, it's January. Hey April, the wedding the wedding
Yeah.
is supposed to, you're like
what?
what? And then the rumor starts floating around,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
and like
yeah.
and like then the aunts start being like, oh, like you can see the bump in her thing. you
Well,
know?
one of my
Yeah.
friends, I won't say who, but she's a very close friend of mine from university, and she messaged me one day. She's like, "Hey Frank, my wedding is XX time. Can you make it?" And at the time, I looked at my watch. You know, you always look at your watch, and really, you know, you're gonna look at your phone.
Right.
And I was like, "That's like 2 months from now." Oh, my exact
Like, yo,
reply
well,
to
go
her.
on. Yeah.
My exact reply to her was, "So how many months pregnant are you?" She's like, "What? How did you know?"
Oh, come
I'm
on,
like,
man.
Who makes a
know?
random 2 month wedding impromptu invitation, guy? Like,
Yeah.
I'm your good friend. It's not like I was a last minute
Right,
placeholder.
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, anyways, it was really funny. I enjoyed that.
But I think that would be interesting to wonder if there are couples out there where one spouse or one other, again, someone significant other, one of them are tied to the, like, I'm not having kids at X amount of age, or hey, I gotta hurry up and have kids at this young age.
I think
And
it's
just
usually
more
one
of
of
a
the two,
cultural
right?
thing. Yeah, but I wonder if there's a lot more culture there too, right? Or like, again, my grandma got married at like 17 or something like that.
I feel like it's all
Or
culture
16, yeah.
for that decision.
Yeah, but like you couldn't imagine doing that. Like I could, like the girls who got pregnant in high school and stuff like that. Like no matter how you want to face, and a lot of them were a lot of people that, I mean, in my area that happened frequent. Well, it was normal enough to
Mhm.
know that would happen, but those girls were still looked at as like, what the hell are you like? What the hell are you doing? You threw away your whole life. You know,
Yeah.
you threw away everything. But maybe we're looking at it at this lens of like your cultural lens.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah. The world is viewed through your own glasses, your own eyes, right?
And like I imagine, like when your parents come from whatever, where other part of the world they come from, and they come here, they almost say like, "Shit, we didn't expect that to happen here too, to our daughter, to our son,
I can
to
agree
our
to
blah
that.
blah blah." You know
yeah,
what I mean?
I can agree.
Yeah, and especially if you're of different culture, oh, well, that must be nuts. That's got to be a fight, dude.
It's like, what do you say? Right?
Yeah.
That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, because
Completely different.
that feeds the family more fuel of like, this, you see,
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
this,
Yeah, you
Trini
see this
gal,
what
this white
happens.
gal, this
Yeah.
Chinese gal, this da da da. You see them gal that trap them out. Hey, oh, don't stay away from them Chinese. Stay away from them.
So
this,
for all
this,
you
yeah.
listeners, he just said, "You see this lady here."
Yeah, like that fuels the fire of the more cultural divide within the family, right?
I won't say the cultures, but I know that there's some cultures who would borderline be ready to kill their
Yeah.
daughter or son if
Oh,
they came
buddy.
home saying, "Oh, I have a baby come." They're like, "Not anymore."
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, they
sure.
would they would bury them because it's almost like seen as a dishonor.
Big time.
And that goes back to, no, you're supposed to be married before, or, you know,
Right.
you were supposed to marry this person.
You're supposed to marry this guy, the guy who looks like this. Is who you're
Yeah,
supposed to marry.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So, one culture shock actually that people aren't prepared for are conversing. Like when they hear their spouse, how they talk to their parents or to their friends or whatever. And they're kind of like, what is going on? In both different ways.
Yeah, sure.
Like if we talk about the obvious one,
That happens to me a lot.
like let's say black and white people. And again, people, I say this because this is what I know. I'm black, and you know I see a lot of white cultures, etc. But when you see sometimes when you see like someone just talk back to their parents, like a "fuck you, mom," it's like, what did you just say? Like I would have been knocked out or something, right? That's relating back to our last podcast. Or when you see, or people who are used to like yelling,
Or aggressively talk. Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
So
sure.
I remember when I first started dating my lady, and I won't say anything because I can't even say I love her. She was like yelling at her mom.
Why?
So they're yelling. I'm
Come from?
standing there all like, yo, shit, like shit's going down. And then like 20 seconds later, they're like laughing and talking. I'm like, yo, what just happened? I'm
That's
like,
how it is with me.
and she's like, no, we were just talking. I'm like, no, you guys were yelling. She's like, no, we were just talking.
Yeah, and like so I don't. Sorry, you go on. Sorry, I don't cut you.
And so that was even the part that hit me, because I was like, okay, that's how they talk. But stupid me didn't think at the time. I'm like, if that's how she talks to her mom,
Yeah.
how's she gonna talk to
to
me?
you. Yeah.
And the
When
thing
shit
with me
gets
is I'm
real,
like my
yeah.
dad, where I'm mad calm, and like I prefer to just literally talk things out. Like if there's an issue,
Yes.
all right, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
You don't like that? All right, well this is why I did it. Okay, my bad. Cool, right?
I'm very much like that too.
But I mean, she would like she's like, not that she has a temper tantrum or she has anger management issues. Nothing. It's just her culture. They're very vibrant, and sometimes I have to be like, "Yo, who are you talking to?" But then in my mind, I'm like, "Wait, who am I talking to? Like, this is what she's used to."
That's
right?
a great point. I never thought of that till now. That happens with me. Like where my wife will be in a private time going home or like at home and be like, she'll be like, hey babe, why do you talk, like how could you talk to your dad that way? How could you talk to your mom that way? Because you guys just yell. Like you guys just yell all the time. I'm like, it's not
Oh, you
yelling.
guys do?
Yeah, I do that. Guyanese people do that.
Oh,
Guyanese
yeah.
people are like West Indians do. To me, West Indians in jest say things aggressively.
Don't bring
you know?
my island into this.
Okay, fine.
Not
You're more
everybody's
of a,
like
you're
that.
more of a chill thing. I'll say Guyanese. I would say more like, hey man, you're right. Hey, what ras you do, man? What you me hear you gone so and so. You got
Okay, well, you get okay. All right.
But it's so, if you don't know what they're saying, all you hear is, "Hey, you ass! What the hell are you doing?
Oh,
what were
you're
you
talking
doing?"
about that way?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
No, I'm talking about like I would see people have a literal.
No,
yelling
sure.
matches.
I'm with you on that too.
Like, what are you doing? Why would you do that? Oh, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, yeah.
Ha, 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 ha. I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like,
Yeah, sure.
that's what I still actually don't understand. Sorry, I understand it, I guess. I probably will never get used to it.
Right.
Never. Because it's just so, like, I just don't.
Like I feel like
can't do it.
Guyanese people speak in insult. They speak in insult. Like, you know, it'll
It's
be
just
like,
funny hearing that,
why you look skinny? You not eat?
Yeah.
You know? Or like it's spoken in an insult.
So that is all
Yeah.
the islands. Yes, that's all Caribbean or West Indian,
Yeah.
sorry, I should say.
Yeah.
For sure. Everything is an insult, but it's not an insult.
No, and then it's worse when you are married to someone like who is not of your culture
Mhm.
or race, because then that person becomes part of the insult. Oh, you date white gal? Oh, you don't want white people food now? Yeah, all right. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
You know, like
Food, that's
yeah,
a good
sure,
one.
Sure.
Food is a huge difference, right? Like, again, that's not
Yeah,
the first
sure.
thing you think of, but if you think of if you're dating a African, Guyanese, St. Vincent, or if you're talking like a European or straight Canadian,
Yeah, sure.
you gotta get used to that food.
Yeah, sure.
Like spice, no spice.
And that's a life thing. You're handcuffed
You're
for
done.
life to those cultures.
You're good.
If now you've also assumed that both parties cook.
No, I'm not assuming that.
But you mean also to experiencing like when you go to a restaurant or
If
go
you
to
go
like
out,
go out, yeah.
one person might be like, yeah, I want to go try whatever cultural food because it's not a huge swing in the pendulum compared to theirs.
Right.
But then some people who may have more bland or chilled out food,
Right.
they may not be as willing to go try the food because like that's way too left field
Sure.
for them, right? And that's just something you got to deal with.
Right.
It's I don't know. I think it's fascinating. I like interracial or intercultural, inter whatever you want to call it. I think it's beautiful, and shame on people who think it's not good.
I think that's dissipating a lot. I think that by year, the way culture is moving, the way at least Canadian, I would say Canadian, North American. I'd probably say more
This is
Canadian
North
culture.
American we're talking about here,
And I would say a lot more Canadian too. That like, and especially urban areas like Toronto and stuff like that. Like it's like it's not even a thing to talk about anymore. I don't know.
No.
Like especially in our generation, it's not a thing. It's a thing maybe to joke about, and you're still gonna carry around those jokes.
Yeah, you might joke, but like
Yeah.
seeing any kind of multicultural couple walking down the street,
Right.
like Queen Street, King Street, Richmond, whatever,
Right.
you don't bat an eye.
Right.
The only thing is, like I said, I still get looks, but that's because of it's like usually specific, like a specific demographic or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
sure. It's always older women, man. It's always
Older,
women
yeah,
and
of
older
course,
women.
it's
yeah.
always older.
Yeah.
Not always. A lot is older,
No.
but there's definitely some.
I don't
young
think
ones.
guys look at you and be like, "Yo, why is she with him?"
No, the guy's checking out the girl.
Yeah, yeah. I think like the guy, the father,
guy doesn't care
Like the father,
what
the
it-
dad,
yeah.
the man. A man looking at that couple is like looking at the girl.
Yes. Put it this way:
Oh,
the man
yeah.
looking at the couple, like you said, is looking specifically at the girl,
Right.
and her features most likely.
Sure.
And then a woman looking at the couple is a woman looking at the couple,
The couple, right?
right? And the kid,
And the
right?
kids.
Actually, one girl told me once that because she a white lady, she is Australian,
Okay.
dating a black guy who is, I think he's just actually Jamaican, not just Jamaican. Sorry, he's Jamaican, and their baby's mixed. And she had someone come up to her before and say, "Is that your child?" And she was insulted. She's like, "What do you fucking mean this is my child? Of course this is my child. This is," you know what I mean? Just because he visibly looks different.
I mean, I think
Who
that I
are
don't.
you to go up to
I
someone
wouldn't
and say,
say,
"Is that
I
your
would
child?"
never think that. Yeah.
You can think it, sure, but you never go up to
No,
someone
yeah,
and
to
say,
have the gall.
"Yo, is that your child?"
No, to have the balls enough to do that. That's
That person's getting
my
licks.
character.
Check out episode 2. Episode 2, licks on licks.
Bear licks. Bear licks.
Bear Licks Club. No, it's anyways, it's still interesting and I like it. You guys should like it too. You got anything else on this topic, bro?
No, I think that was. I think we really have. I think talked about something that not a lot of people outwardly talk about, and I don't think people have those kind of conversations enough. I think because I think having these conversations more would more so bring even more faster resolution to any sort of like qualms and disputes and all these kind of like underlying like myths.
But again,
of
remember,
things,
it's not
right?
about resolutions to problems. It's also about people just
No, not even
opening up and being willing to experience.
Yeah, and
culture
maybe
as a whole.
maybe as problem. When I say problem, I mean like the judgmental probably side
Okay,
of
fair
things.
enough.
You know what I mean? Like that part of where you again you're being that lady that we speak about, looking at an interracial couple and being like already has assessed in her mind, and is gonna tell all her friends when she goes home.
One thing that's actually good, this is probably the last thing I say on this topic is, and I actually always said it for years, coming up in university, I never liked it when they had those the cultural shows,
okay.
and excuse me, you would see a table for Asia, a table for the West Indies, a table for Europe, a table for Russia, a table for
I
whatever.
never saw this.
Oh, my school did.
Okay, that's messed up.
I always enjoyed it more. Messed up. I always enjoyed it more, or I always said, you know what? If you have a table for Asians, right? Where do you think all the Asian people are going to go? To that table, to that pavilion.
Right,
If you have a club that's predominantly black people, where do you think all the black people are going to go?
right,
That club. I always thought it'd be so much more beneficial if it's just like one big pavilion, one big show of just a mix of everything and everybody working together. That way, everybody feels more comfortable to be diverse in a multicultural settings. And it's happening so much more now. And I think that's actually one of the reasons why Toronto or the GTA is getting so much more culturally intertwined, is because from the younger age of high school, university, they're showing that, hey, yeah, you should be mixing in together and not just kind of segregating yourself and then complaining about segregation later on. Drop the mic.
Whoa. You know, up until that last sentence, I was like, yo, this is a great way to end. This is great. Then complain about segregation later. All right, leave your comments at frankwilson@gmail.com. All right, man. So that's episode. All right, man. Look, there's no way better to end it, maybe?
If you have any comments, questions, queries, concerns, whatever it is, drop us a line at
a coming of age podcast. Sorry.
Oh my gosh, you had one job, dude. One job.
A coming of age the podcast @gmail.com. And again, we are just kicking this guy off, so we're gonna be setting up IGs and Facebooks and all that kind of good
Twitters.
stuff.
Twitter would be a good one. Actually.
Twitter's gonna be a wreck when you start hearing when you hear something like "Don't complain about segregation later." So
hey, listen, the most successful podcasts are the ones that are the most controversial. So you're gonna thank me later.
Oh boy. Okay, so we probably won't be back next week with anything.
Lights
cut
cut
off. Get kicked out of this nice lounge that we're in here. But that's it. Hey, listen. Again, leave us a note, drop us a line,
Thanks
any which way
tuning
you can find us, and we'll catch you down the road next week.
Keep looking at those multiculturals.
Wow. So now, multiculturals. All right, I'm just gonna end this.
Peace out.